So welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Today we are having a look at a Megir 2236 Breitling Navitimer homage that I picked up for the princely sum of £12.50. Now you all know what a tightwad I am with money, and I do like to do this from time to time. The question is, was it £12.50 wasted or not? Let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into the specifications, we'll do just a very quick run round of the watch. So in terms of the basic dimension, it's got a 43mm dial, quite wide. The lug to lug though isn't bad at 50mm, so it still wears reasonably well. It's a quartz watch and therefore it's only 11mm thick, and it has a lug width of 22mm, and in this instance they've put rather a nice, this is a sort of rubber style rally strap, and it's remarkably good. It's very soft, it's lovely, really soft, and I just love the way they've put the brand name on the buckle with a little R, so that you know that this is a registered trademark, because that isn't a registered anything, is it? It did make me laugh. It has a Hardlex crystal on it, allegedly. Don't know about that. The case is alloy. Always a bit disappointing, and you kind of have to expect that this probably isn't going to last, and certainly not something to be dipping in the swimming pool. It has a Langexin LD53 movement in it, and it's a ChronoMovement, and the ChronoMovement does work. And I've seen exactly the same movement in one of their other watches. So I had the Tag Monaco homage that they did, the huge watch that was, which had exactly the same movement. And because it's all pushers and it's got a sort of friction-based case back, water resistance is only 3 atmospheres, and so don't get it wet, whatever you do. And then the final thing it has is a rotating inner bezel. Now, I have to confess, I don't really understand. I've never really looked at a Breitling because it's completely out of my price bracket. But I have no idea why it's got why this has a rotating bezel. I know the watch that it's homaging doesn't. And I have no idea what the numbers on it. There seem to be an odd mix of watch numerals, speeds, weights, just a bit of everything, really. Having said all that, it doesn't look bad. It really doesn't. Let's get into the detailed specs. So we'll do a quick run through the specifications for this. The dial width is 43mm and the lug to lug is 50mm, so wears reasonably, but a big watch. Has lug width of 22mm and thickness of 11mm, predominantly due to that LD53 Langexin movement, weighs in at 80 grams and has 30 meters of water resistance, and allegedly the crystal is Hardlex, and I have no way of checking whether that's true or not. So what can I say about the loom? So it starts well enough. It's clearly got loom on there, and that is about all I can say. So this test took place over the spell of about 4 minutes, and as you'll see by the end, there's not very much left to see. So it doesn't get 0 out of 10. I think for me, it's a 2 out of 10. So let's talk about the things I don't like about this watch. So I think the first one is that alloy case, it is a bit shiny and a bit naff, to be absolutely honest, and it does make the watch look a little bit cheap and nasty. I will caveat that by saying it is cheap. Well, it's certainly inexpensive, and so yeah, I'm not a big fan of the alloy cases. The second thing I'm not a fan of is the inner rotating bezel. I mean, I love it, you know, A button to twist, excellent, fantastic, but it's utterly pointless. I don't know what point it serves, and I don't understand what the markings are because they're not consistent all the way around. It's all a bit weird. The other thing is that the second hand on the chronograph won't reset to 0. Doesn't matter how many times I press it. Now, I know there is a trick for doing that on normal quartz chronographs, which involves pulling the crown out and then using the buttons to adjust it. It doesn't work on this one. So I have a chronograph that won't reset to 0. Bit disappointing. But let's talk about the positives on this watch. So the first one is despite the problems with the hand not quite resetting, it does have a working chronograph on it. And it is quite useful from that respect. I'll just reset it back to not 0. The second positive is the strap. And this is the second time I've had a Megir watch where actually it wouldn't be any great shakes for me to turn around and say, well, I've thrown the watch away, but actually to keep the leather, to keep the rubber strap. It's just phenomenally cut. It's so soft. It's very pliable, and it wears so comfortably. So I may well rescue the strap to go on one of my other watches. And the final thing about it really is that actually there's some nice touches. So you may not be able to see it, but the subdials have got those little circular concentric circles going around, and this is one of those watches that actually from afar it doesn't look bad. I mean, you get a little bit closer, you'll probably spot how shiny and slightly cheap it is, but from a distance it's not a bad looking watch. Now, I can't give Megir any credit for that, obviously, because this is a fairly clear homage to the Navitimer. But they haven't done a bad job with it, and it does come in a number of other colours as well. So for £12, it's not bad, is it? I don't think. So let's have a go at summing this one up, shall we? I think it's a bit of fun. For £12.50, it's not a bad looking watch. Clearly it is a very cheap watch, and I don't mean cheap as in just inexpensive. The look of it and the feel of it is quite cheap. However, the strap is very good. The watch looks okay from a distance, and if you only have £12 in your pocket and you desperately need a watch and you want something with an element of style, would I recommend this, or would I recommend Casio F91? I suspect the F91 is going to last a lot longer, but for me I'd probably go for one of these, and that may well upset a lot of people, but the reality is an F91 is very basic, so is this. It tells the time, it has the date, it has a chronograph, it doesn't have an alarm, but hey, that would be asking a bit much. I think this is not a bad effort. So that's it for today's budget watch round. You know what I'm like with my £10 watches, and I have to be honest and say that my most watched video of all time was a £10 SKME watch. So I don't have a problem with budget watches, and I don't think my viewers do either. So if you just want a bit of fun and you've got 10 quid in your pocket, you can always try one of these, or not. It's up to you. It's Saturday afternoon. The rugby is due to start very shortly, so come on, England. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, and hopefully we'll see you back fairly soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.